All right, the biggest game in the Big 12 takes us to Lawrence, where we've got a ranked-on-rank between TCU and Kansas. I did say that. It's the biggest game in the Big 12. I know Texas and Oklahoma are playing. It's the only FBS game this week featuring two undefeated teams. The Jayhawks and Horned Frogs are two of three remaining unbeaten teams straight up in ATS this season. Also, shout out to James Madison. Kansas is a 6.5-point home dog. Tom, will the dogs be barking?
Yeah, I think so. I have been flying with Kansas since about the halfway point of last season. They have been treating me very well, and I cannot abandon them now in what is the biggest game in Kansas football history for at least 15 years, probably since the 2007 season. This is a huge game. I think TCU is also very good, and I think if not for Kansas being the kind of story that it has been, the Cinderella story, TCU would be getting more attention than it deserves, as they did beat Oklahoma by 31 last week. But I just think that when I look at this Horned Frogs team, the offense is fantastic. Defensively, it's still not very good. It's below average in most of the metrics that I care about when it comes to gambling. And I think that we would have seen that last week had Dylan Gabriel been able to play the entire game. The Oklahoma offense probably would have had a lot more success. Meanwhile, Kansas's offense finally hit a wall last week for the first time. Iowa State, full credit to them. They did a terrific job of maintaining their gaps and taking away the explosive plays that this Kansas offense is built on. I don't think TCU is going to be doing the same thing. I just don't trust them defensively the same way that I trust an Iowa State team that Matt Campbell's had going well for years. So I see this as being something of a shootout, maybe more of a classic Big 12 tennis match. Maybe the over's worth a play, but I just don't see either one of these teams being able to pull further than one score away from the other. So if I can get nearly a touchdown, I'm going to take the Jayhawks.
I'm going to take TCU, Tay Barber, Gunnar Henderson, and I think more specifically an up-and-coming wide receivers coach in Malcolm Kelly driving the Big Bens. I love this TCU team. And look, Tom, if you're going to sit here and say it's going to be a shootout, then I'm going to go with the team that is fully capable of getting into a shootout and actually wants to get into a shootout, and that is TCU. So I'll lay the points. The hook really helps me a lot, too, because at 6.5, I absolutely love it. But I just think with Max Duggan, the way he's been playing, he is finally following through on the guy we thought we'd get when we saw him as a freshman before he transferred. So I think right now TCU, it may be being overlooked a little bit. We're falling in love with the Kansas narrative a bit. And look, I mean, Tom, you're right. You've been riding Kansas's train for, almost a full year now, full calendar year. But I think for TCU, it's just more dynamic offensively and is catching its stride at the right time. And I just don't think Kansas will be able to slow it down. And if it gets into a shootout, no offense to Jalen Daniels, I just like this receiving core and Max Duggan to get the job done.
Max Duggan 3-0 in his career against Kansas. 7 total touchdowns, just 1 interception.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.